issue of, like the deputy president loves to say, dilapidated economy, which is caused by bad governance or poor policies or just mere ignorance of implementing the right policies, where you have a policy paper that is just thrown somewhere, gathering dust, and and then there's also the issue of corruption. So all these things contributed to the problems that the president and his government is trying to solve. He's only 40 days into office. So what he's doing right now is trying to look for the viable way and a solution that can sort out how can we survive in the next 6 months, okay?
Yes.
So that it lays a foundation on how we are going to prosper in the next 2 or 3 years. And so he is laying a foundation for his own legislative agenda. Remember, he hasn't started, implementing his legislative agenda. He's still trying to solve some of the problems that he inherited. For example, and we cannot blame the past regime for some of these problems. They did not ask Russia to attack Ukraine. They did not, ban carbon monoxide to go up and create a huge layer to cause climate change and global warming. They are not responsible for drought. Some of these problems are actually natural and they are beyond the country. And so he has talked about importation of fertilizer for the long rains. There was fertilizer that was brought for the short rains, and there's 3,500 shillings from 6,000 fertilizer. He has talked about investing in production rather than in consumption. And we all know in economics, the moment you become a consumer and not a producer, you lose prosperity.
Very true.
You have to be a producer. So Kenya became a consumer for the past 5 years. We've been consuming products, goods, services from Uganda. You talked about milk coming from Uganda. He talked about the other time, we slaughter our livestock, millions, but we still import leather. You see, we are not producing. We are not producing, okay? And so when we become a consumer nation rather than a producer nation, that is when we have the problems that we're facing right now. So what is he trying to do? Trying to turn around the country into a producer nation. A country's wealth is measured on GDP, gross domestic product. How much can you produce and sell? But when a country becomes a consumer, we lose the track. And so right now, the president, in a nutshell, is trying to lay a foundation on how the country can become a producer in agriculture, in talents, in ICT, in all industries, in all areas, segments of the economy. How can we produce and how can we make other countries also to be our markets rather than just us becoming the markets for sugar from Uganda, milk from Uganda?